In this video, we're going to learn how to create a new Unity project, and then talk through some of the interface elements in the workspace. When launching Unity for the first time, you'll see a list of tutorial resources offered by Unity themselves. But let's click the New button to create our own project. We need to give our project a name, so let's call it First Project. We also need to specify the location in which to create our project. So let's make sure to select somewhere you have persistent access to. We also need to make sure to use the standard 3D project template. And then make sure Unity Analytics is not selected, as we have no use for it in this project. Finally, click Create Project. Now we need to wait patiently whilst Unity configures and prepares our project. Our project is now ready within the Unity workspace. This is the default window layout for Unity, but you may see different arrangements and configurations in screenshots and videos from other people. Let's talk through some of the main windows and what they're used for. Down here we have the project window. Here you can access and manage the assets that belong to your project. Some examples of assets are things like 3D models, source code, and third-party libraries. You can usually import most assets into your project by dragging and dropping them into this window. Don't forget to use the search bar on the top right if you have trouble finding one of your assets. Just above, we have the Scene View window. This is an interactive window into the application you're creating. Here you can manipulate the position, rotation, and scale of different objects currently in the scene. To the left, we have the Hierarchy window. This contains a list of every object in the current scene. These can be created through the right-click menu or by dragging and dropping assets from the Project window into either the Hierarchy window or the Scene View window. You can use the search bar on the top right if you have trouble finding your objects. By default, a new project always starts with a main camera and a directional light. You can inspect the components and properties that belong to these objects by left-clicking them. They can be seen on the right in the Inspector window. All Unity objects have some kind of transform component, which you can use to set the position, rotation, and scale. You can use the Inspector window to add components to your object, such as scripts that make your object do something. The Inspector window can also be used to view and modify properties of assets that aren't in the scene. Along the very top, we have the toolbar. This lets you switch between various transformation modes, such as rotating, moving, or scaling. But what you'll be using most often is the Play button, which lets you run your application and test it right here in Unity. If we click Play, you can see the workspace switches to the Game View window, which is the tab next to our Scene View window. The Game View window gives you an almost perfect idea of how the application will work on your target platform. You may also want to click the Stats button to get some useful information about the application during runtime. Let's click Play again to stop running our application and have a quick look at the Asset Store window. The Asset Store allows you to search for and download various assets to use in your application. A few are created by Unity themselves, but the majority are from third-party developers and designers. Depending on the asset, it may or may not be free to download. You can customize your workspace however you like. I personally prefer to have the Scene View and Game View windows alongside each other, which we can do by clicking and dragging the tab around the Unity workspace. Let's right-click inside the Hierarchy window and create a cube in our scene. On the right you can see the default components associated with it, including the Transform component that we mentioned earlier. You can see it's been created at position 0, 0, 0 in our scene. We can hit play if we want to see how it looks during runtime, but because we have no custom behavior, it will just stay there. Let's stop the application and use a mix of mouse controls and edits in the Inspector window. If you make any changes to objects whilst the application is running, they will be reverted when it's stopped. so make sure to always check that the application is not running when making changes. That's it for our Workspace walkthrough.